Hi everyone, it's Sloan Rose here with your weekly spiritual guidance for the week of May 20th, 2018. This is for all astrological signs as we look at the energetic wind, let's say, that's blowing through for the week for everyone. And today I think I'm going to be drawing from the Past Life Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue to look at the overarching theme. And I decided to choose this deck because everyone's working through deep, deep karma in order to release it and help to continue to grow spiritually, and it's happening very, very rapidly. So I thought I would choose from this deck to look at the predominant past life energy that we're all working with for this particular week. And then from the Tarot of the Spirit, I'll get 3 cards, 1 card in the position of what our ego may try to distract us with based on the past life energy, 1 card in the position of what our heart is asking that we explore further, and 1 card in the position of what we can look forward to regardless. As you know, the egoic energy is not necessarily a bad energy. It helps to provide opportunities for us to expand from the heart. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the... I explained it a little bit more in the last week's video. And if you would like to listen to this in the audio, on the audio podcast, it's available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. I think some other sites have also picked it up. If you just Google my name, it'll come up. Sloan Rose Podcast. Okay. And I also have the online courses available. Oh yeah, so I am, because last week, as I mentioned last week, I noticed that I was over 20,000 subscribers. So I was super excited. I wanted to share with you a 20% discount on the new online courses I have available. There's a link below. So if you'd like to take advantage of that, it's going to be up for 1 more week. I decided to do it for 2 weeks because it's over 20,000 subscribers and 20%. So I'm going with the 2 theme, knowing that I'm always in partnership with all of you. So it's my gift to you if you're interested. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's see. Vows. Wow. Oh, this past life deck is so intense. All right. Vows. Well, trust your own intuition right away because you're going to have some kind of, most likely you're going to have some kind of response to that. What type of vows? When you think of vows, do you immediately go into guilt and shame around vows, or do you go into a more rigid, like I have to keep my vows, otherwise I'm a bad person, guilt and shame, or do you recognize that there is a vow that you've been seemingly wedded to, let's say, I mean, thinking of vows of marriage, that you can't get out of. It's as though it's stuck in mud. Like I vowed to do that. I vowed to be poor in order to make everyone around me feel good. You know, I vowed to make myself small so I wouldn't threaten anyone else. Did I vow to dominate others in order to assert my my need for affirmation out of fear that I won't be able to be affirmed or be recognized unless I dominate others? There's a million trillion ways that we have vows. You know, some of the more readily available ones in terms of our conscious mind would be, you know, a vow of silence, a vow of poverty, a vow of chastity, marriage vows, you know, those kinds of things. But it goes much deeper than that. So this week is an interesting opportunity to look at the vows that we have taken, either consciously or subconsciously or unconsciously, in order to feel more comfortable or in order to make others feel more comfortable. So let's get some additional cards, though, because it's pretty intense energy there. Now it is represented here in this particular card with 2 females. So there may be that feminine influence here, the divine feminine. What kind of vows have you made regardless of whether you are male, female, or however you identify your gender? What vows have you made around the divine feminine, around the receptivity and openness and areas of surrender and that softer, gentler energy? Seemingly, it's very powerful, very deep energy, and it works beautifully in conjunction with the divine masculine energetically in terms of energies. I'm not talking about the physical aspect of it. I'm talking about the energetic frequency which it emits and it vibrates at. So what kind of vows have you made around the divine feminine? Have you made a vow to be super sexy? Have you made a vow to be a mother? Have you made a vow to be nurturing? Have you made a vow to nurture others at the expense of yourself? Have you made a vow to not allow those softer energies to enter into your life because you must dominate them out of fear, possibly of a over-dominating female figure in your life? There's so many ways it can come in, and there's no right answer, and there's no easy answer. It's something to explore with a gentle heart, you know? My head is just tingling. Things are coming into the light of consciousness if you allow them to. I'm really drawn to these little candles they're holding. You know, it's like a little spark. And with, you know, whenever you light a candle in a room full of darkness, you begin to see, right? But when you first begin to see, especially by candlelight, you can't see everything right away, but you begin to assess and perceive things differently and recognize where things that seemingly were scary were just like a chair in the corner, you know? So it's important that you don't leap to any conclusion, or that you don't try to make it right or wrong. But just, I think this week it feels like, for me, like you're just opening up more to it, to what vows have been prevalent in your life based on divine feminine energy. Either exploring it joyfully or shunning it, you know, or trying to dominate it. Very, very interesting. Could be for some of you, of course, that there are actual vows that occur. We are just going off the royal wedding and their vows to one another, which were so beautiful. We also have under the deck leaving or travel. So for some of you, it may be that there is something around these vows that created or that you traveled to create these vows in your life, or that you have a vow to continually leave situations that make you uncomfortable, where you feel vulnerable, right? That divine feminine energy, when it's misunderstood or misperceived, can feel vulnerable, can feel terrifying. So have you made a vow to continually leave that energy or to travel towards it? You're always seeking it. Remember that you can't connect to the divine feminine energy by seeking it outside of yourself, by trying to find it, by trying to have relationship after relationship in order to find it within you. It's important to connect to it regardless of gender, how you identify your gender internally. It's an opening, it's a surrender, it's an allowing. It doesn't mean that you allow or fully, or doesn't mean that you're okay with situations, circumstances, and people who aren't your preference. It just means that you allow it to be as it is. And with that allowance and that level of surrender, solutions come more easily than when you're trying to fight against it in the moment. Now, there are degrees to this, so go gently with this. And, you know, if you're having an emotional reaction to what I'm saying and feel angry at me, that isn't necessarily about what I'm saying. It's that it's triggering something within you that makes the words that I say uncomfortable, and there's a fight back against it. So it's just information for you. So much there. This is why I only do past life readings if a client asks for them, because they are so deep and so wide. Okay, so I'm going to get one card in the position of what the ego may try to distract us with, one card in the position of what our heart is asking that we explore further, and one card in the position of what we can look forward to or expect regardless, based on the vows. Okay, here we go. So we have Father Earth in the position of what our ego may try to distract us with, which is the King of Pentacles. We have the Three of Air, the Heartache card, which is what our heart is asking that we explore further. The Three of Swords. And then what we can look forward to regardless is the Devil. Well, now it's clear to me why I was asked to use the past life deck by my guidance system here. We also have the Five of Swords under the deck, the Fear card. Okay. So as I mentioned with the past life deck, very deep, very wide, very powerful energies. The vows that we have committed to, either consciously or unconsciously, are difficult to release, let's say, or to accept and open up from a point of activation as opposed to fear, right? So our ego may try to distract us with the Father of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, Father of Earth here in the reverse. I mean, come on. We've got the Divine Feminine here and the Father of Pentacles, very earthbound, dominating energy. So the ego may try to distract us with possibly an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, but not necessarily. It's more of an energy, but it may be showing up in terms of an individual in your life who seemingly has control over you, control over your finances, control over where you go and how you do it. And it may just be an imposed limitation that you are putting on yourself, a vow here to work for others, a vow to make yourself small in order to allow someone else to succeed, let's say, or dominate, so that their fragile ego doesn't become shattered. Because when their ego becomes shattered, they become very forceful, sometimes abusive, this kind of thing. So it's going to be really, really interesting how it plays out in our own individual lives. There are degrees to this, so go gently and do your best to recognize where it shows up. It may show up in terms of an individual, someone you work for, a landlord, someone in your friends or family, or it could be an energy within yourself where you are trying to dominate over. Again, what I feel here is some sort of vow that has to do with more of that divine feminine energy, more of that yin energy, the gentler, softer, intuitive, open, surrendered energy, and how you respond to that. Do you respond to it lovingly, or do you respond to it and how to dominate it, right? Because it seems fearful. That seems like you would be too vulnerable to exist in that energy. Okay, and then what our heart is asking that we explore further is recognition. Recognize here where the heart has been hurt by this energy, by this vow. And it may be during this week that you make a new vow. Right? It doesn't have to be negative. A new vow with the Divine Feminine, to be more open to it, to be more open to women, to be more open to the Divine Feminine energies in people who hold that energy regardless of how we see their gender. Open to the kindness, the intuition, trusting your intuition more. It can come in a lot of different ways. So it may be that you are making a new vow around this. But in order to make the new vow, you have to recognize and allow the heart to feel the pain, you know? That feeling the pain, when you move out of anger about a situation and you move into the pain of it, even though it's not your preference, it doesn't feel good, the melancholy, the sadness, the heartache, it is from that place of pain that the heart opens up and surrenders to the situation. And with that surrender, with that opening, comes new potential and opportunities. But we have to allow the pain in order to get there. We can keep fighting, you know, but the fight is with ourselves, really, out of fear that we can't handle the heartache. But you know from your life experience, and you know from just being on the planet and watching others, and knowing that the pain of the heart is part of the human experience, and you absolutely can handle it. You absolutely can experience tremendous amounts of pain and still have a beautiful life, because you allow that pain to transform you. It doesn't have to be wallowing, but you have to recognize where there is pain within your heart. And just energetically, spiritually, the Divine Feminine energy is coming in, is rising, let's say. And, you know, we have to look at the vows we have made with that, regardless of, you know, of who you are. We all are working with these energies. And then what we can look forward to regardless, this has turned into a very deep reading. What we can look forward to regardless is the devil. You know, all that fear and anxiety. You know, this is the ego, the devil, the ego. Where are we being called to let go of the fear? Where are we being called to make a new vow where we are more surrendered, more allowing. The devil wants to keep us massively distracted with fear, anxiety, fighting, keeping things in the familiar patterning so that we have that level of fear and adrenaline running through our body to keep us hyper vigilant so that we don't, so we survive, which is what we've been doing in terms of on an evolutionary scale here. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go back to the video from last week. I don't want to keep repeating myself every week, but I do go into a little bit more there. So be aware this week. It may be challenging for many of us. And we also have the Five of Swords, the fear. Whenever you shift consciousness, the ego, the inner child, the devil in this case, tends to kick up a fuss and will try to massively distract us away from the heart opening more and more, away from the softer, gentler, more allowing, kinder energy, because that energy is new. It's different. And the heart doesn't want, the ego doesn't want the control to go to the heart. The ego wants to maintain the control. Again, not because the ego's bad, but because this is what the ego has successfully been doing for many years, and it doesn't want to relinquish control. And we may see it on a planetary scale, a global scale in terms of political action and this kind of thing. The fight back, there's a lot of new energy. The youth of the planet is rising and wanting to take hold of this new consciousness more powerfully and manifest, create change. With that Uranus energy coming in, and the Taurus energy as well, and the devil, the old guard, the status quo, trying to hang on. We see it, historically, of course, but this is a new time, new consciousness around it, so it's not the same as it is in the past, but it's certainly, there are shreds of it. There's a recognition of it in the past. But now we have a different consciousness with which we're dealing with it. So it's going to be a very, very interesting week, I have to say. All right, so, wow, those are pretty deep readings, so you may want to listen to it again to make sure that you understand how it may play out in your own personal lives. Remember that these readings are to help you identify how the ego shows up in your life, how that egoic energy can provide an opportunity to open more from the heart energy. You can continue, of course, to do whatever you choose. We always have free will, but it'll go more smoothly if you're at least doing it consciously. Consciousness is the key here to creating more peace within your heart, to creating the changes that you're wanting to see in many ways in your life and the lives for humanity, of course. So anyway, I hope you find that helpful. I wish you much love, and I will see you either on the podcast or remember, there is a 20% discount on the online courses. There's a link below. The coupon code is SUBLOVE, but there's a link below with the coupon code there in case you forget. All right, much love to you.